confidence plunges to new low following 8 months of decline. Builder confidence in the market for newly built single-family homes fell 6 points in August to 49, according to data, and this is by National Association of Home Builders. Now, this is troubling news, right? Because what's interesting, and I want to bring this up too, there is this notion of lack of housing on one end. And then now you have this other aspect, which is the builders don't want to build. So what is it, right? Is it really lack of housing? Is it a housing shortage or something else? Or now is it an oversupply of housing? The truth is actually a lot more complicated. So what tends to happen is this. When it comes to building, there's shortages in areas, right? You can very arguably say that there's shortages of housing in the Bay Area. Otherwise, why are housing what they are? Why can't more and more people afford it? And why are some people deciding to leave altogether? But it's hard so too, right? Because where are they going to build? The only areas for them to build that actually has a decent amount of land to do a lot of construction tends to be in the outskirts. So if you look at like places in the surrounding areas like Gilroy, if you look at places like Tracy, if you look at places like Dublin, if you look at places like now you go to the northeast side of things, let's say you go all the way to like Vacaville, right? That corridor between the Bay Area and Sacramento. There's places like in Brentwood, right? So these outskirts area actually has a decent amount of construction if you actually look into it. There's quite a bit of construction going on, and there's actually big plans for them to keep doing it. But the question is, how many buyers are willing to go all the way out there, especially if prices decline? They can just move closer and stay closer to the core Bay Area. Those are the interesting things that happens when it comes to this kind of dichotomy. It's like there's a housing shortage, but it's very hard to build where a lot of people want to be, given just the nature of how things are laid out. Now, the other challenge of this too, when it comes to builder confidence, is their costs are a lot higher, right? Combination, they're not selling as fast, because they're also, to be fair, builders tend to also build usually more expensive homes relative to the area. So you can get pre-owned for less, right? That's the premium that you get for owning a new construction home. And so people may just elect for just pre-owned ones that maybe have been lived in for the last 10, 15 years that are quite a bit less. And so there's pressure on the resale of it. There's pressure on the cost has been rising, right? Inflation has been rampant throughout, including material and labor. And so these are all like issues, though, very big issues, because as they stop deciding to even do any projects today, that will have a very lasting impact over the next several years, because they don't restart right away. They're going to wait it out. They need to clear out the inventory, wait it out and see what happens, and then decide to go forward with projects. So very interesting times indeed. We talked about this. I think I talked about this last week, where Xray Work CEO startup just raised $350 million before there's no traction yet for the company. It seems like that company will be acquiring multifamily units or apartment units, and then creating like different community things. Could be events, could be activities, could just be facilities for them to want to choose to live there. At the same time, they'll probably have to push up rents for those things. So it'll be interesting to see how things play out, because otherwise, why? What is their game plan of doing? How will they actually even earn any money or gain any money? But what's also funny about this is within their own city that they lived in, and they don't even live there the entire time now. Atherton was making a proposal to either build multifamily or build condos in the area. Not even that much. I think it's like 25 units or something. And then they wrote a very, very direct note to the city. Please immediately remove all multifamily overlay zoning projects from the housing element, which will be submitted to the state in July. They will massively decrease our home values, the quality of life of our neighbors and immensely increase the noise pollution and traffic. Seriously? I mean, it makes sense. There'll be more traffic when you have zero traffic, but really, really interesting to see, right? On one end, and that's the problem that we continue to face. And it's also a very just inherently big challenge, right? I understand both sides. People that they spent their money to live in a great area like Atherton, like Palo Alto, like Menlo Park, these very, very great areas. And but we need more housing in those prime areas. But they're not willing and interested in making these kind of decisions that are needed to actually increase more housing. And to be fair, if it wasn't for low, if I mean, I'm not entirely sure like who this would qualify for, but if it's from a housing element, it probably is lower income people. But either way, this is kind of the nature of things, right? So if it's not in your backyard, whose backyard is it? And a lot of people still have that same attitude and same mindset. So a very difficult thing, right? The only other way is you have to build farther out. But then again, there's less people that would want to live out there because you have to factor in commute and factor in traffic. So those are always the challenges when it comes to building any homes.
Thank you for watching this short on my YouTube channel. For more shorts, go ahead and click here. For more live streams, you can go ahead and click here. I'll see you at the next one.